I found a blind and deaf girl downstairs at my apartment building. Because I was so incredibly lonely, I selfishly took her in and raised her as my girlfriend. The first time I saw her, she was dressed head to toe in designer brands, looking absolutely beautiful. I fell in love at first sight. She had this pure, ethereal vibe. She was exactly my ideal type. She stood downstairs all day without leaving, and I watched her from my window all day too. I went downstairs and took her hand. She hesitated for a second, then followed me. I asked her questions, but she did not answer. It was not until I brought her home that I realized she was blind. I sat in front of her, observing her. The more I looked, the harder I fell. I desperately needed this kind of girl. ON who could not see and could not speak. Initially, she gave me no reaction at all. I planned to take her to the police station. I tentatively took her hand and traced words on her palm. I will take you back. She immediately grabbed my hand and wrote back. Take me in. I continued writing. You want to live at my place? She took the watch off her wrist. Here. This is for you. Is it enough? It looked like a luxury watch. It was not that I actually wanted her money though. I asked her why she did not go home. She did not reply. I carefully pulled her hand back. I suppose I can take care of you. Be my girlfriend. She nodded and traced the word okay. She gave me the feeling of raising a cat that could not survive on its own. On the 31st day after I found her, I made my move. That day, she walked over and quietly rested her head on my shoulder. A hit TV drama was playing on the screen. When it got to the scene where the leads kissed, I looked down and saw her innocent side profile. I leaned in and nudged her. Her body stiffened as if struck by lightning. So I wrapped my arm around her waist and kissed her deeply. She did not push me away. I had asked her many things before. Since you can't see, can't hear, and do not speak, how do you know how to read and write? Anything she did not want to tell me. She met with total silence. Tracing words on palms became our only way to communicate, though most of the time, it was just me doing the talking. Whenever she took my hand and the warmth of her fingertips touched my palm, my heart would flutter a little, but she rarely responded to me, either sitting or standing silently in place. She did not seem to care much that she was blind and deaf. She gave me the impression of someone who had been through a lot of hardship. It made my heart ache for her. Ever since that kiss flipped the switch, I stopped holding back so much. She could not see anyway, so I often changed clothes right in front of her and said things I would never dare say to other girls. Gradually, she went from frowning and sighing at first and clenching her fists when I teased her to becoming docile. She was very smart. She quickly mapped out the basic layout of the house and could do a lot of things by herself. But that just made me fear the day she might leave. I could not bear to let her go. Then, one day, my ex-girlfriend brought her new boyfriend to my place, claiming she left something behind. It had been ages since she moved out. How could she possibly still have things here? She knew I was sensitive and probably just wanted to show off her new guy to me. I used to love my ex Ningxiu very much, but she said I was emotionally unstable and that dealing with me was exhausting. I knew it was the truth. So I was devastated back then. I drank countless bottles of cheap liquor before I finally got over it. I left the door wide open for her to fetch her stuff, while I anxiously looked at Pomelo. Pomelo was the nickname I gave her, since she would not tell me her real name. When Ning Xiaoyu walked in and saw the girl, she clenched her fists. She was visibly displeased. I used to have to trail behind her, begging and coaxing her, but now I just guiltily tightened my grip on Pomelo's hand. I felt her fingers tracing against my palm, pressing lightly then firmly. I hugged her tight. I was afraid she would be upset, and I did not know if she could feel my rapidly beating heart. Inexplicably, her heart rate started to speed up too. I let go to observe her reaction. She looked up at me, suddenly looking just like a person with normal vision. But Ning Xiaoyu called me over, so I temporarily forgot about her unusual reaction. As soon as I walked in, Ning Xiaoyu pinned me against the door. Got a new Owen so quickly. Her boyfriend was literally waiting on the other side of the wall. It seemed she did not even care. I felt a sudden wave of disgust. Stay away from me. I glared at her. What is wrong? Or not you the ON who loved me most? With those two right outside, is not this thrilling? She lunged forward to kiss me. I was caught off guard, but right at that moment, Pomelo pushed the door open and walked in. She even turned to look at us. If it were not for her usual vacant expression, I would have sworn she could see. Ning Xiaoyu was startled and failed to steal a kiss. I immediately pulled Pomelo to me and kissed her deeply right in front of Ning Xiaoyu. I did not want to deal with this woman anymore, nor did I want Pomelo to misunderstand that something was going on between us.
Fang Mo,
do not come begging me to get back together when you regret it. She stormed out in a rage. The shameful past had just been laid out before my eyes. I looked at Pomelo, feeling a bit lost. She reached out, hugged me, and nuzzled her head against my chest. I lowered my head and kissed her again, thanking her for the comfort and whispering an apology. Even though she could not hear it, I noticed the tips of her ears turn red. It was the first time she would ever had such a reaction. I pushed her gently onto the bed, kissed her, and said, "Let me change clothes. Then I will take you out for something good to eat," because she could not see. I never bothered to hide when changing in front of her. I slipped into some casual, comfy clothes, and when I turned around, her face was completely flushed. I rushed over in a panic to check on her. "Are you having an allergic reaction again? Last time, she accidentally ate some peanut butter and ran a fever all night, refusing to go to the hospital. I had to take care of her with cold towels until dawn. I inspected her like a precious treasure, but she only grew redder." I anxiously touched her cheek. "Do we need to go to the hospital?" Suddenly, she stood up and walked out of the bedroom towards the bathroom. When she came out, her face was no longer red. I took her hand and we went to eat. All day, I had this lingering feeling of being watched. I turned and said to her, "Why do I feel like someone is staring at me?" She did not reply, just swung the hand she was holding mine with. While crossing at a traffic light, she just started walking straight ahead. I pulled her back and scolded her, "Even if it is a green light, you can't just walk on your own without me leading you. I feel like you would lose your life if I was not around." Then I went back to muttering to myself. That night, as I was unbuttoning her clothes, she uncomfortably took a step back. "Do not move. These pajamas are a size too small. The buttons are tight. I can't get them undone." She obediently stood still. At night, she always slept in my arms. She would throw a leg over my waist and hold me tight. Sometimes when I woke up in the morning, she would be sprawled entirely on top of me. She could not speak, so I never knew if she felt physically unwell anywhere. Maybe she was a little tired today. As usual, she threw her leg over me and fell asleep. She was tossing and turning a bit that night, making it hard for me to fall asleep too. When I woke up in the morning, I kissed her, as always, and noticed faint dark circles under her eyes. I reached out and gently touched them. She suddenly opened her eyes and stared blankly at me. If I did not know she was blind, I would really think she was looking straight at me. She reached out, wrapped her arms around me, and rolled over, pinning me down on my side. Because she could not make a sound, she just let out 2 soft hums and fell back asleep. I closed my eyes, unable to bear waking her up again. As time went by, she grew more and more accustomed to my home. She could take out the trash and even peel apples. I was terrified she would cut her hand, so I snatched the knife away. She grasped at empty air, failed to catch it, and got mad. But because I was right beside her, she could grab me. She grabbed my arm, pulled me close, and bit me on the neck. I froze in shock, but could only let her do as she pleased. "Why are you biting people now? Are you a puppy?" The corners of her mouth clearly curled up. We were becoming more and more like a normal couple. Emotionally, I was growing increasingly dependent on her. Ning Xiaoyu came looking for me several times. She kinda wanted to get back together. "What are you even getting out of being with a blind and deaf girl?"
Fang Mo.
I broke up with him. "Get back together with me, please." I looked at her with disdain. "Even blind and deaf? She is infinitely better than you." "Ning Xiaoyu, I truly loved you once, but now I truly do not." Suddenly, someone bumped into my back. I was about to yell at whoever did not have eyes when I turned and saw Pamela. She was holding a garbage bag in her hand. This was indeed her usual route to throw out the trash. "Baby, why did you come out?" I pulled her to me and wrapped my arm around her waist. "Ning Xiaoyu, I love her now. I love her so much. I am going to cure her in the future, no matter what it takes, so do not come around anymore. There is nothing left for you in this home." I tossed the garbage into the bin from a distance, then took Pamelo's hand and headed home. Sitting in the living room watching TV, I held her close. The lease is almost up. I feel like moving would not be a bad idea. Pamelo's arms around my waist tightened almost imperceptibly. She turned around and straddled my lap, staring blankly ahead. Will Pamelo like me? I sighed as I looked at her. If only she could sense it. I hugged her tight. Resting my chin on her shoulder, she gently stroked my back. She did not know what was on my mind, but she could always sense my mood. I called up my buddy, Yang. "Keep an eye out for a place for me, somewhere near your area." I said,
Wow.
"You finally remembered I exist. Why did not you wait until the grass on my grave grew tall before thinking of me?" He was pretty ticked off. He had been trying to get me to hang out lately, but I had politely declined because I wanted to stay with Pamelo. "I have had some things going on recently. Sorry, man." I told him, "I have a girlfriend now too." Yang and I had not seen each other in a while. The last time we met, I did not mention Pamelo to him, because back then I was not sure if she might suddenly leave, but now I felt like we were going to be together for a long time. "You just picked someone off the street and took her home. What were you thinking?" Yang was full of concerns. As if understanding him, Pamelo rested her head on my shoulder and nuzzled me. Seeing this, Yang asked, "Did not you say she was deaf?" "She is. This is called a telepathic connection." I laced my fingers through hers. Yang rolled his eyes hard at me, judging me for being hopelessly love-struck. Can a guy be hopelessly in love? Yang had a partner too, but he did not understand the kind of deep emotional salvation I felt. He was naturally sunny and outgoing, whereas I always seemed to hide in the shadows. We ended up parting on a sour note. I felt a bit depressed, so I bought some alcohol and drank at home. Pomelo must have smelled the booze. She was extremely resistant. "I'm not forcing you to drink. What are you upset about?" I pinched her cheek. She got even madder and knocked my bottle over. Drunk, I started to mumble. "I should send you back. I really feel like this is not right. Keeping you to myself like this. I am so selfish. You were dressed so well when I found you. Your family must be pretty well off. If you leave Onde, what will I do?" I tugged at her cheek and asked her, "Do you love me?" "Pomelo, say something, please." Eventually, I was half carried, half dragged back to the bedroom by her in my drunken stupor. Once in the bedroom, she started getting handsy. I saw her pulling at my buttons, grabbed her hands and asked, "What are you doing?" But the more I tried to stop her, the angrier she got. I had no choice but to let her have her way. Even though the girl could not see, I woke up the next morning completely dazed. I am prone to blacking out when I drink. I turned onto my side and looked at her sleeping face, consumed by guilt. "I am so sorry, Pomelo. What did I do to you last night?" I held her and cried, apologizing to her over and over. She looked at me like I was an idiot, smacked me once, then took my hand and wrote. It was a natural progression. There is no need to blame yourself. Plus, I like you too. After that happened, I felt the bond between us grow even more intimate. I took her shopping, out to the movies, and bought her favorite snacks. Of course, I was the only Owen actually watching the movie. She just leaned on my shoulder and fell asleep, her lips inching closer and closer to my neck. She even licked her lips. That familiar ticklish feeling in my heart returned. I squeezed my eyes shut as I looked at her and whispered a curse. "Little troublemaker." Her breath puffed against my neck. I could not focus on the screen at all. Halfway through, I decided to copy her, to let her feel how agonizing it was for me. But she just thought I was playing with her. I was the only Owen suffering. Why was I even trying to compete with her? Maybe because it was the first time she had initiated a kiss. I was a bit lightheaded coming out of the theater, and absent-mindedly left her at the entrance, forgetting to hold her hand. I reached out and grabbed thin air. Turning around, I saw her getting bumped around by the crowd at the door from a distance. It was a heartbreaking sight. I ran back, took her hand, and tried to lead her away. "I'm sorry," I said to the air, but she stubbornly refused to budge. Her face clearly told me she was furious. She was not going anywhere. No matter how I pulled, she would not move. I had no idea how to coax her. I figured I would just carry her off, but she resisted violently. "Fine. I'm leaving then. You can just stand here." I wrote on her hand. She fiercely shook off my grasp, getting even angrier, so I just stood right next to her, watching her reactions. She stood proudly with her chin held high, but her icy expression made me feel guilty. I surrendered. I carefully pulled her into a hug. We just stood there hugging for a long time. The next time I pulled her, she was willing to follow me. My job involves doing design work online. I do not like commuting to an office. Since I work well with a few solid companies, my income is quite decent. Having her around made life feel completely joyful and carefree. But just when I was brimming with confidence, dreaming of a long future together with her, her family showed up at my door. Her name is Byram Bhutan. She is my fiancé. The stiff-looking man glared at me with barely suppressed rage. "Give her back to me." The guy looked ready to lunge and beat me up as he spoke. I was stunned, frozen in place. Pomelo immediately stepped in front of me, pushing him away. "Do not touch him," she spoke. I staggered back in shock. Staring at her as she spoke, she turned around in a panic, grabbed my hand and pleaded, "Listen to me, let me explain." When I broke free from her grasp, I saw sheer despair in her eyes. Still, she desperately begged, "Wait for me, okay? I will explain everything to you." Bai Rambutan was quickly swept away by her family, looking at a house full of traces of her. I just felt entirely hollow inside. I was scared. I was not good enough for her, but even more so, I could not stand being in a room without her in it. I packed my bags and returned to my childhood home. My parents passed away when I was very young. I was raised by my grandparents, but they had also passed away not long ago. My sudden return struck the neighbors as a bit odd. Around dinner time, a few of the neighbors who were close to my grandparents brought me some food. Fortunately, they did not ask why I had come back so abruptly. That night, I called Yang Yang. He chewed me out, saying I always made decisions without telling him and did not treat him like a real brother. Even when she was disabled, I often felt like I did not deserve her, let alone now. I choked out, "Yang Yang, I miss her so much." Yang Yang sighed, comforting me for a long time before hanging up. He even petulantly threatened to cut ties with me if I did not move back. The next afternoon, deep in a daze, I heard someone knocking on my door. I groggily walked over and opened it. The person standing outside was Pamelo's mother. I suddenly felt incredibly nervous, immediately lowering my head, but she gently took my hands. "Child, can you please help my daughter? I will agree to whatever conditions you have." I looked at her, completely at a loss. Invited her inside and poured her a glass of water. She continued talking. Her marriage with her husband was arranged because it was an unhappy marriage. It ended up hurting their child. 2 years ago, Pamelo's father was keeping a mistress outside, which Pamela walked in on. Later, she discovered that her father had brought his illegitimate daughter into the family company. Her parents, wanting her to grow up healthy, had always played the part of a loving couple in front of her. When that illusion shattered, the harsh reality was laid bare before her eyes. She could not take it anymore. She gradually began to suffer from mental breakdowns. Her father, seeing that he could not keep it hidden anymore, simply decided to marry her off to his mistress's nephew. That way, they would all be one big happy family. But Pamela fiercely resisted. The psychological torment led to a physical decline. In her vision and hearing, the doctor said it was because she was constantly under a certain psychological suggestion that she ended up like this. Every word her mother said felt like a knife stabbing into my heart. But why won't she speak? I asked her mother. She blames us for betraying her, so she refuses to open her mouth. Her mother pleaded, please help her. Since she came home, she has been even more depressed than before, saying, we have hurt her all over again. Her father does not care about her anymore. If I lose her, I won't survive either. She is my only daughter. I'm begging you, she said, about to drop to her knees. Auntie, please do not do this. I hastily helped her up. Let me think about it some more. As she was leaving, she wiped away tears and sighed, which made my heart clench in unbearable pain. After a brief moment to collect myself, I headed back. I did not really dare to go back to my own place, so I went to Yang Yang's. But as soon as I got there, I ran into the person I hated most. Were not you treating her like she was some precious treasure? Bet you did not expect she already had a fiancé, huh? Ning Sheiyu blocked my path. Did you really wait here all this time? Just to tell me that must have been exhausting. I finished speaking and prepared to leave. She grabbed my arm. Not just that, I was the ON who notified her family to come and get her. Ning Sheiyu, if you have a problem, come at me. Do not hurt Pamela. Only the last shred of my rationality kept me from lashing out. Fengmo, do not even think about getting rid of me. She glared at me. Suddenly, right behind her, I saw Pomelo. Pomelo marched right up and slapped her across the face. Before I even had time to react, Ning Sheiyu snapped her head up, and seeing it was Pomelo, her anger instantly deflated by half. Apologize. Pomelo coldly spat out the single word. Just as Ning Sheiyu opened her mouth to say something, Pomelo added, or I will make your life a living hell. Her eyes were freezing cold. The last time I looked at her in the bedroom, she had that exact same look in her eyes. Ning Sheiyu muttered an apology, turned around, and ran off. I was just about to say something when she swayed and collapsed toward me. As our skin brushed against each other, I was scalded by her heat. The words of apology caught in my throat. Why are you burning up like this? I asked. She did not answer. Why do you treat yourself this way? I looked at her, my heart aching. Her weight against me grew heavier and heavier until she finally passed out. I frantically called for an ambulance, then called Yang Yang to go with me to the hospital. She was gripping my hand with a death grip, refusing to let go. The nurse said to just let her hold it. She was running a terrifyingly high fever. Her phone in her pocket kept ringing. I saw the caller ID said Mom, so I answered it. In the end, the three of us stayed by her side in the hospital all night. When I woke up in the morning, it was just her and me in the room. Her eyes were open, and I do not know how long she had been watching me. I had barely sat up and touched her forehead when she took the opportunity to throw her arms around me, holding on for dear life. Pomelo let go for a second. I told her. She tilted her head up, trying to reach my lips. Be good, let go first. Let me check on you. I tried to soothe her. Do not leave me. Her voice was so small. It broke my heart all over again. When did you recover? I asked her. When your ex-girlfriend came over. She looked a little nervous after saying it, watching my reaction closely. I should not have lied to you. Please do not throw me away. As she finished saying that, her eyes welled up with red. I lowered my head, avoiding her gaze, suddenly remembering all the times I had changed clothes right in front of her. I genuinely wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Let go first, I said. Even if I die, I won't let go. She replied, are you an idiot? What if I was just trying to con you out of your money? If you were only after my money, that would be an easy problem to solve. She countered. When her mom and Yang Yang walked in, they caught us practically glued together. I was so startled I jumped right off the bed, terrified that I was leaving again. She hurriedly sat up too, looking at me with a deep frown. Let go for a second, I told her. She looked so incredibly wronged. I gave her mother an apologetic look. She just gave a knowing smile. Auntie, you two talk. My friend and I will wait outside, I said, just as her mom was about to say yes. She grabbed my hand again. I'm not leaving. I will be right at the door. I quickly reassured her. Only then did she finally let go. Have you made up your mind? Yang Yang asked me once we were outside. What if the little rich girl gets bored one day and tosses you aside? What will you do then? Yang Yang warned me. I used used the savings I had scraped together over the years to buy an apartment near her family's home, just to put Pomelo's mom at ease. Why did you force him to do this? Pomelo asked her mom, clearly displeased. It is fine. This is what I should do. I patted her head. Her mom gave me a grateful nod. I smiled back at her. Moving took 2 whole days, and I was dead on my feet. So she immediately hired a whole crew of people, sparing me from any more manual labor. She was just like before, loving nothing more than to quietly stay by my side. Even though she could speak now, she still treated her words like gold. Yang Yang and his girlfriend came over to visit. I whipped up a simple meal for them and introduced everyone to each other. That evening, while I was changing clothes, she suddenly barged in. Before I could shut the door, she had already slipped inside. We agreed. We sleep in separate rooms. You are going back on your word, I told her. But if you're not there, I can't fall asleep, she said. Truthfully, I did not want to sleep apart from her either. During those few days we were separated, I had insomnia every single night too, but I wanted to protect her, even though she constantly felt I was pushing her away. Before sleeping, she wrapped her arms around me, pulling me close. We talked for a long time. Mostly it was me either talking or asking questions. The way she looked at me was so serious and steadfast. I will always stay by Pomelo's side until you realize you do not need me anymore, I told her. I will need you for this lifetime, the next lifetime, and 8 lifetimes after that. Her eyes lit up. She still loved to hold me tightly, with her leg draped over my waist. It seemed like that was the position she slept most comfortably in. When I woke up the next day, the bedroom door was open. The light-colored curtains blocked out the glaring sunlight. She groggily opened her eyes. Just as I finished up my tasks, came back to the bedroom and gently touched her face. Her mom was even peeking in from the doorway. That jolted her wide awake instantly. She checked the clock on the wall. It was already 3 of the clock. Looking a little embarrassed, she gave me an innocent look. Then the corners of her mouth turned up and she leaned in to pepper my face with kisses. No matter how many times you kiss me, you're not going to wake up, I joked. She looked a little shy and a little pouty. She looked quite well today. We made some delicious food and came out to eat. I casually suggested something. Her mom, afraid of making me uncomfortable, finished cooking, exchanged a few words with me, and then left.
Fang Mo.
I am truly grateful to you. Her eyes were slightly damp. It had been a long time since I would seen her looking so happy. I originally wanted a divorce, but we built the company together from the ground up. My family has a strong reputation in the industry, and I brought in a lot of the investments. I have poured too much of my blood, sweat, and tears into that company. If I can't leave it to Xiao Shui, I just can't accept it. Her grandfather is abroad, and I rarely tell them about my grievances, so they have no idea. Everything was going so smoothly, and Xiao Shui was doing a great job at the company, but then her father just had to bring that person into the company. I looked at her with sympathy. Could you help me persuade her to go back to the company? Auntie finished speaking and left.
You have your own considerations.
If you do not want to go back, that is completely fine. After seeing her mother out, I opened the door and found her standing right behind it. She scared the living daylights out of me. Let us go back and try our best, I told her. They all say I'm crazy. The calmer she acted about it, the more my heart ached for her. I stepped forward and hugged her tight. Pomelo is definitely not crazy. She did not say a word. I looked down at her. I am right here with you. Pomelo does not need to be afraid. She smiled back and softly said, okay. During the time she was away, her father's illegitimate daughter had been thriving at the company, and that person's assistant was none other than the guy who claimed to be her fiancé, named Lilei. On our very first day at the company, he showed up, uninvited. By Rambutan, did you really think I actually cared about you? How could I possibly be interested in a lunatic? Lilei scoffed. Are not you thinking a little too highly of yourself? I was about to punch him in the face, but Pomelo held me back. Are you even worthy of me? Lilei, do not talk so big, probably not expecting Pomelo to fight back. Lilei slunk away looking a bit cowardly. So our Pomelo knows how to roast people, huh? I stroked her cheek and hugged her tight, reassuring her that she had nothing to fear. It was only after spending nearly half a year at the company with her that I finally understood why she had ended up like that in the first place. It was because her father did not treat her like a daughter at all. He threw extravagant birthday parties for his illegitimate daughter at the company to win her favor and build her up. During meetings, he always propped up his illegitimate daughter while suppressing Xiao Shui. Not only did he not give her any opportunities, but he also actively stripped them away from her. He always tossed the hardest, messiest projects onto her plate and gave the most lucrative, easy-win projects to his illegitimate daughter. Not only did this fail to trip up Rambutan, whose blood literally ran with 3 generations of business acumen, but it also turned his precious, illegitimate daughter into a useless, pampered princess who expected everything to be handed to her on a silver platter. The sudden surge in her workload caused her to suffer from frequent insomnia again, so I worked even harder, hoping to share her burden. He walked over and draped a jacket over my shoulders. I was so sleepy I could barely keep my eyes open. He waited for me to slowly open my eyes. She was dozing off, leaning against the office desk. I could not help it. I laughed. "Are you hungry?" I asked her. She nodded and hummed an M. "From now on, rest at home and only come in when you have slept enough." "Okay," I said. She shook her head. No. Seeing her so sleepy she could not open her eyes made my heart ache. I hugged her tight. "My heart hurts for you too." My eyes were getting a bit red, and afraid that if I actually started crying, I would lose face. I turned my head away. Her birthday was fast approaching. To celebrate with her, I got off work early, hoping to surprise her. I never expected to run into Ning Xiayue right at the entrance of our residential community. "Ning Xiayue, are you ever going to drop it?" I clenched my fists.
Fang Mo.
"I know I was wrong. I'm begging you. Leave that cripple and be with me, please." "Who are you calling a cripple?" I was livid. I shook her off and walked toward the community gates. She chased after me again. "Then give me a breakup fee to compensate for my losses." My temples throbbed. I never imagined she could say something so shameless. "Fine. How much do you want?"
I will give it to you.
"But from now on, never come looking for me again." I took a few steps back. Being near her was suffocating.
20,000.
"In cash. I will give it to you tomorrow. I am very busy today." "No, it has to be today. Otherwise, I will come bother you every single day." I had no idea how things had devolved to this point. Left with no other choice, I went with her to the bank. I just wanted this all to end as quickly as possible. Pamela was working so hard right now. I did not want this to affect her. By the time I got back, it was too late for the big surprise I had planned for Pamela. I just grabbed a small cake from a bakery and headed home. When I opened the door, I found Pamela was already back. The atmosphere in the room felt inexplicably heavy. I walked over and placed a hand on her shoulder. She roughly yanked me toward her. The strong stench of alcohol hit my nose. I whipped my head around and saw a whole row of liquor bottles lined up on the table. She had taken a sip from every single one. She slapped me hard across the face. "Where did you go?" "I went to buy you a cake," I replied. She glanced at the cake, then said, "And what else?" We just stared at each other like that. She looked like she was shattering into pieces right in front of me. It was the first time I would ever seen her like this. I knew I had messed up again. "I'm sorry," I apologized. "Tell me, why did you get into a car with her? Where did you go? What did you do?" With every sentence she spoke, the hysteria in her voice escalated. I frantically pulled her into a tight embrace, trying to explain. "Did you finally realize that I really am a lunatic? Am I too exhausting to be with? Are you planning to dump me and run away again?" She was talking a mile a minute today, probably because of the alcohol, giving me absolutely no chance to explain.
Xiao Shui.
I called her name. She froze. "I love you. I do not think you're crazy. Being with you is the happiest thing in my life, and I will never abandon you. Do you understand?" I told her. She buried herself in my chest, softly sobbing, letting out all her emotions like a child. "I was originally going to prepare a surprise for you, but Ning Xiyu came to harass me again, so I went to the bank with her. I did not want her disturbing us anymore. I'm sorry." I apologized to her. Lilei sent a few photos to my company email. I could not control my emotions. She clung onto me tightly. When I felt she had stopped moving and was on the verge of falling asleep, I patted her back gently. "Get up. You must be hungry. Let me cook you something." Instead of letting go, she hugged me even tighter, taking a deep breath against my chest. My stomach hurt so much, her voice sounded pained. I stroked her head, got up, and made her some hangover soup. She followed me, hugging me from behind the whole time. "Wait in the living room," I told her. "No," she refused. "On row is nothing. A whole tableful would be even better, would not it?" I felt a wave of delayed fear. She finally quieted down. That night when we went to bed, we were lying apart at first. I scooped her up into my arms and held her tightly. "I should not have doubted you," she whispered softly. "But you have to tell me things too. Do not hide things from me," she mumbled quietly. I rolled her over and kissed her, whispering a soft, "Okay," for 2 whole years. She had endured far too much unfairness. Lilei secretly got together with his cousin, and they constantly came over to flaunt their relationship in front of us. I wondered how their parents would react. If they ever found out, her father's blatant favoritism broke her heart. She refused to accept defeat and practically gave it her all. Her mother mobilized all her resources to help him, but it still was not enough. She and I practically lived at the company. We were unbelievably busy. "Look at these 2 projects we just got handed," I said, holding the files. As I walked over to show her, she tossed the files onto the desk, got up, and buried herself in my arms. "Baby," she called out to me. I could feel she was exhausted. "Go sleep in the back room for a bit," I suggested. "No," she refused. She hugged me, pushed me against the office desk, and kissed me. I gently traced under her eyes with my thumb, looking at her with aching fondness.
"I have let you get so thin."
The door abruptly swung open right at that moment. She was startled. I carefully steadied her. "Watch out." "Mom, could you please knock before coming in?" Pamela complained to her mother. It was not the first time her mom had walked in on us like this. She walked over and grabbed Pamela's hand.
Fang Mo.
"A lot of the designer brands dropped their new lines today. I'm taking her out shopping. Auntie pulled her, ready to leave. I looked back at her. Mom, I do not want to go. Pomelo looked to me for help, but I was the ON who had contacted her auntie, asking her to take Pomelo out to relax for a bit. I was terrified her body could not handle the strain anymore. Auntie was also very good to me, treating me like her own son. That evening, Pomelo came home carrying bags of all sizes. I went over early to pick her up. I took the things from her and set them aside, then took her hands to check if the heavy bags had hurt them. From this shopping trip of hers, I looked down and saw that most of the stuff was bought for me. Are you silly? I said to her. She said doing this made her the happiest. Fang jackfruit, she was getting bolder and bolder around me. On one hand, I felt this was not good, but on the other, I could not bear to let her down. I let out a sigh. She looked at me with a victorious smile, resting her hand on my thigh. As I carried her back into the room,
Let us rest, Rambutan.
I said, call me wifey and I will let you sleep.
Your choice.
I called her that. The tips of her ears and her neck immediately turned red. I laughed at her. All talk and no game. She threw a little tantrum and messed with me for a bit before getting up to wash up. Before the shareholders meeting, her father came to see her. She kept her head down, her expression unreadable. Do your best. Dad has high hopes for you too. Rambutan simply smiled and did not reply to him. I knew that even if she did not say it, she must be hurting inside. I reached out and stroked her cheek. She hugged me to calm her emotions. I kissed the tip of her nose. It is okay. I am here. She let out a muffled, and then I lifted her to sit on the desk again. She never seemed to get tired of this position. Baby, she leaned in. Give me a kiss. Not long after, the company held the shareholders meeting. Auntie released the news of Rambutan's father's affair, combined with the backing of her grandfather abroad. The majority of the votes at the meeting tipped in Rambutan's favor. She successfully took the top position. She looked at me happily jumping up and down in the office. I was genuinely happy for her. I held her hand and swung it gently. Suddenly, she collapsed. Rambutan, I screamed in terror. Half a day later, Rambutan woke up in the hospital. The doctor said she was severely overworked and needed to rest well. So when she reached for her tablet for the umpteenth time, I stared at her sternly. It is important. She looked at me pleadingly, unable to withstand her pestering. I eventually gave her the tablet. The very first thing she did was fire the illegitimate daughter and leech. The second thing was contacting the media for an interview. She did not like this kind of gossip, so I did not quite understand. While she was being interviewed in the hospital, her father, furious upon learning she fired his other daughter, stormed in and bumped right into the reporters. Lychee and his daughter had come along with him. Under the relentless questioning from the media, those three gradually backed out of the hospital room. The world was finally quiet. I stared at the door of the ward in a daze. She pulled me over.
I want kisses.
I looked at her and laughed. You still have the energy to think about that. We prepared to travel abroad. We booked the hotels online in advance before leaving the country. I drove her out to the suburbs. I parked on a deserted road. We leaned against the car, watching the leaves fall onto our shoulders. I reached up to brush a leaf off her head and gently kissed her forehead. I no longer had to walk on eggshells around her. She looked up as if she had suffered all the grievances in the world. Yeah, I stroked her back. Hubby, she called me. Marry me, she said. I hesitated, wanting to say something but stopping myself. Let us go get our marriage certificate, okay? I turned around and got straight into the car. She angrily chased after me and asked, are you not going to marry me? Fang jackfruit, you were just stringing me along. I buckled her seatbelt for her, feeling both helpless and incredibly happy. We are going right now. Fang jackfruit, I want a huge diamond ring.
Right. All right.
I drove her straight to go pick out rings. She picked them out happily. Honestly, I had been lost and confused before too, but I simply could not refuse her. Whatever she said, I was fine with it. I was willing to do anything for her. The next day, we got our certificate. On the third day, we embarked on our trip to Europe. Auntie said she did not want us getting dragged back into the mess, and that she would handle all the family affairs before we returned. She had been obedient her whole life, and had so many things arranged for her. She wanted to be brave for once, too. After Rambutan recovered, I found it a bit hard to keep up with her. For the 3 days before going abroad, we barely left the house except to eat. Hubby, open your eyes. She would not even let me off the hook bright and early in the morning. The only time we happened to go out to eat. She went to call a waiter to order. While she was away from the table, I was hit on by a foreigner. She lost her appetite completely, angrily stating that she wanted to go back. I explicitly rejected her though. I do not believe you. Her jealousy always seemed to be this intense. It was not until I agreed to play her absurd little games that she finally got up, satisfied, to order takeout. Still slightly annoyed, she snapped, "Go out and buy it. I do not want takeout." I knew she was throwing a tantrum, so I went over and kissed her. Okay, what do you want to eat? I will go buy it for you. If I had not brought back a bunch of delicious food when I returned. She said she absolutely would not have forgiven me. She was always so unreasonable, but I loved it. While eating, she was watching her tablet on the side, ignoring me. Frustrated, She aimed a kick at me. I swiftly grabbed her ankle and pulled. The potato chips spilled all over her face. She lay there on the sofa in despair. I got up and walked over. I reached in to take out the ones that had fallen into her clothes. She lay there quietly. I knew something was up. 3 days later, the real trip finally began. We saw all sorts of beautiful scenery, and I took many gorgeous photos of her. She said they looked beautiful. I turned my head, my gaze falling upon her. Not as beautiful as you. We left as 2 people, but returned as 3. I blamed myself a bit. I should have kept her in check. She still worked at the company during her pregnancy, which kept me on edge with worry. During meetings, she always loved to stare at me. I sent her a message, telling her to stop looking at me. Listen properly. She sent back an innocent reply.
I really am listening.
I let out a yawn. She laughed at me, accidentally laughing out loud. The entire conference room suddenly fell dead silent. Everyone stared at her. She looked at me for help, but she was the boss. Wifey, I silently mouthed, I can't help you here. 3 years later, CEO's office. I watched the little rascal crawling around on the desk, feeling a sense of unreality. Ever since this little Un was born, my status in the family had dropped straight to dead last. The toddler flailed his arms and yelled at me, "Daddy." I could not resist anymore. I scooped him up and gave him a big kiss. "You are so cute. You have completely stolen my favor." Rambutan and her mom walked in, chatting and laughing. I gently closed my eyes. The little Un had fallen asleep on my chest. I heard the door open and opened my eyes. Just as I stood up, the baby woke up too. Rambutan's mom took the baby away. I stared at Pomelo. "Wifey, do not you think you have been giving me the cold shoulder a bit?" Her hand expertly undid my top button, exposing my collarbone. "I will make it up to you right now." She truly had me wrapped completely around her finger. In her father's divorce case, he was ordered to leave with nothing. He came looking for Rambutan a few times. Mainly to ask for some money. My father died the day I found out. He was keeping a mistress. Rambutan threw that sentence at him and left. But later, she cried secretly for a long time. I heard Lychee's family and the illegitimate daughter were cyberbullied to the point of nearly going crazy. They do not even dare to leave their house now. The debts owed will always be repaid in the most necessary form. Her dad only cares about money now, while all Rambutan wanted back then was a little love. She once told me she thought about not being so ruthless, but her dad was the Oayan who drove things to an absolute dead end. "If I had not met you that day, if you had not taken me in, I would have died that night," Rambutan said. But I thought to myself, if I had not met her, my life would not be much different from being dead either. I am more than willing to be hers forever.